to fight their rights, to get their rights non-violent way. But our women were raped, our lands were logged, our education was taken away from our hands, our kids, youths were pushed to take up arms.
Okay, let me get Asoka, your view on that.
Mr. Poopalapillai pushes the tiger agenda ceaselessly. The propaganda that they constantly spew forth, so that repetition seems to become reality, which is, so you're absolutely wrong. The Tigers have eliminated the moderate Tamil leadership in Sri Lanka. The Tamils could have achieved so much had the able leadership that was eliminated by the Tigers were living today.
You would still oppose a separate state for Tamils?
I would definitely oppose a separate state. You don't need a separate state. Sri Lanka is a country that's full of brotherhood.
Well, there can't be that much brotherhood. There's 70,000 people killed over the last 20 plus years.
But that's because of the terrorism of the Tigers. It's the Tigers who caused that.
Okay, just a minute. Charan, your turn.
Well, I think we need to understand the question very clearly. The Tamil struggle for demand, or the demand for equality and recognition, it predates the liberation tigers of Tamil. The liberation tigers of Tamil came into existence only in the late 70s. But the Tamil demand for equality and for federalism, that predates them. That is the first point. And the second point, I would like to make it very clear, I am not in agreement with the methods and tactics used by the LTT. I have been extremely critical of the LTT method and used by the thing. But that does not justify the extremely brutal treatment of the Tamil people in the hands of the Sri Lankan government.
Lenin?
Yeah, I really want to come straight to the point. Actually, the problem in Sri Lanka is not even in the topic. You said it's a civil war. I totally deny it's a civil war. It is a war against terrorism, because there can be a political solution, or any sort of peaceful will come only LTT is eliminated. Because the thing is, all these past days, there have been a number of times there were different dialects.
When Tamils were killed in thousands in 1956, in 1958, in 1961, in 1977, in 1983, there was no LTT. In 1983 alone, within 3 days, 3,000 Tamils were massacred, and hundreds of Tamils became refugees in their own homes. How do you respond to that?
Yeah,
there was no LTT.
Let him respond. Go ahead.
It is. It is a tragic, 83 incident is a very tragic incident. I will not say no, but it is orchestrated by the...
You gotta let him finish.
That was orchestrated by then the UNP government. I don't deny. It's a very big mistake they done. But again, I should also make a note of it. Over the course of years, not even a single incident had happened. Even LTT bombing the civilian areas much more than any part of the country, especially in the south, has not aggravated the majority community to do any sort of violence.
Let me try this with Asoka here, though.
Give me a second.
But I'm running out of time, and I don't want to. There's only so much ancient history we can go over and over and over here. Right. We really, I mean, the key issue, obviously, today is whether or not there is in place any semblance of something that could represent some progress in terms of peace. And I gather, looking at other examples in history, you need certain prerequisites in place. You need the majority to acknowledge that it has done wrong. You need the minority to put aside tactics that others find objectionable. You need some willingness to reconcile past injustices. Is there any evidence of any of these three things here?
Well, my opinion is that peace is about to bloom in Sri Lanka.
Peace is about to bloom?
About to bloom in Sri Lanka. Once the Tigers are eliminated from the scene, the leadership, the people of Sri Lanka are desperate for peace. They've been going through a nightmare in the last 25 years of violence. The whole society has been brutalized, and I know from speaking to people in Sri Lanka and Sri Lankans in this country that there is a tremendous thirst for peace.
Is that right, David?
That's not true, because the Tigers are the symptoms of the root cause. The root cause is the genuine aspirations of the Tamil. How Tamils wanted to share the power, how Tamils wanted to live in that country on equal citizens. That is not there. And even Tigers, after they came to the picture in 2002, when the ceasefire started hanging on, and they proposed a thing called ISGA, Interim Self-Governing Authority. They came, they said, they put the proposal on the table. You know what the response from the government of Sri Lanka and all the political parties in the south? No, we don't want to talk to you. We don't want to go there. So they don't want to give anything to Tamils. They want the Tamils to live as second class, I mean, like yesterday, for tomorrow as well. So, what do you expect from them?
I didn't hear him say he wanted you to live. Yeah, sorry, Anna. Hold on one second. I didn't hear him say he wants Tamils to live a second class.
He doesn't say that. That's what they say openly through their policies. And when you put thousands of people in internment camps and illegal detention camps and don't want to give anything, any power sharing to the population and colonizing their places year after year and don't want to give any education.
Okay, the actions speak differently. Just Anna, come on in, please.
I just wanted to address this blooming peace part. Because from what I saw on the ground in Sri Lanka, the blooming peace is pretty far away, if can be seen at all. And I'm primarily talking about the treatment that the Tamil civilians received once they managed to escape the areas of fighting. As you know, there are about 30,000 just internally displaced now who managed to reach Vavunya. And you know, there are also some people in Jaffna and now in Trincomalee and in Mannar and some other areas. But primarily I'm talking about Vavunya. I hope everybody on this panel realizes what we are talking about. All these 30,000 people, without exception, are in de facto internment camps. I have to say, I've been to many different conflicts around the world, many conflicts where people are displaced, and I've never seen IDP camps that were guarded like these ones. They're surrounded by coils and coils of barbed wire, military and paramilitaries all over the camps. Nobody is allowed out of the camps. There is absolutely no freedom of movement, and very few are allowed in. Relatives are not allowed any contact with the displaced. Humanitarian agencies have difficulty getting access, and all of that is largely done to make sure that these people have nobody to tell their story to.
Okay, thank you, Anna. Hang on one second. We're less than 10 minutes here, so I'm going to ask all of you to make your answers a little tighter if you can to make sure we get everything covered. Lenin, go ahead.
Yeah, as you said, they have been kept under strict this thing. Before a few days ago, the people who came from the LTT area, right, in that particular area where they were staying, there was a suicide bombing happened. She would definitely deny that, because in place to keep them under secured areas, government has decided to keep them for some time so that they will not be harmed. If we leave them out, there will be much more suicide bombings in the civilian areas.
Cheran.
Well, I mean, I would like to say briefly, it is not the question of peace blooming. You know, I would rather say there is doom. And, you know, it is not the question of we are going to be having a peace blooming. But, you know, it's very clear. I mean, it's also very interesting that Mr. Lenin Benedict made this point. It is a war against terror. And this is the dominant discourse that determines the entire Sri Lankan thing. That is fundamentally erroneous. And we know what exactly happened in the name of war on terror.
Right. Well, let me ask David the political question here. Do you think the majority of Tamils could accept a settlement which did not include a separate state for Tamils?
That was put on the table by Tigers, Liberation Tigers of Tamil in 2002, who rejected it. The party rejected it, the Sri Lankan government, and the present president of Sri Lanka, who ran on the platform saying that we don't want to give anything under the United Sri Lanka, we want to give a unitary constitution. It means very less powers. And there are people of hardcore elements in the southern polity. They don't want to give anything to Tamils.
Well, Bob Ray told us earlier that neither side was particularly enamored with the federalist type of option that was being offered.
But this is on the document. I have it on the paper. It's on the public domain. Anybody can go and see that. The Tigers proposed ISGA, Interim Self-Governing Authority.
In which case, let me ask Asoka, do you think the majority, stand by Lenin, I'll get to you in a second. Yeah. Do you think the majority of Sri Lankans could accept a federal kind of Sri Lankan state where the Tamils have a certain amount of authority and power over their own affairs? I don't want to push this comparison too far, but in a sense, the way Quebec operates within Canada.
I think that's possible at this point in time, because people want peace, people are desperate for peace, people want some way to go on with their lives. I think the Sinhalese people and the other people in the south, the Tamils and the Muslims, I think they will favorably look upon a constitutional arrangement which gives some autonomy to the provinces, but